Hello, all you lovelies. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel or for finding this video if it's your first time listening to any of my content. Wow, I have like a big topic today, and I think with all of the recent uncovering of all things perimenopause and also giving a voice to ADHD and things that are neurodivergent, especially within the female population, for those things with ADHD, because really so many things have only been studied in men and in boys, that a lot of this is just now finally coming to light. Any of female health issues. So my disclaimer today is that I have not been officially diagnosed with ADHD, okay? I am also not a healthcare practitioner, although I do have strong ambitions for entering the mental health field. More on that later. And I do a lot of research, a lot of digging, and I'm very self-aware. So I know without the official diagnosis, I don't want to, come out here telling you what I have or what I don't have, but officially, but I will tell you, I know myself very well. And I have been struggling with some things through the season of perimenopause and being in midlife that are not attributable to other things that I could put my finger on. And learning what I have learned, I strongly believe that I have ADHD and I never knew it. And there are many reasons why I never knew it. And also the struggles that I've had, I would say, have maybe been going on for the last year or two, maybe a little bit more than that, but strongly in the past several months. I feel like it's been heightened. And I think it's because I now, tuning into it more and more, I've had this aha moment of this is ADHD. So I want to talk about it because I know there are going to be other people out there that can relate. Some of you, if maybe you haven't gone through some of this, you're going to be like, maybe I don't understand. But even if this video helps to destigmatize a lot of what's seen in people with ADHD and other related neurodivergent tendencies, can fall within a spectrum, okay? So even if there is no official diagnosis, there can be things that lead you to be borderline ADHD or borderline on the autism spectrum. Like there's many different things, just like when I talk about some of the narcissistic abuse I went through while my ex-husband was not officially diagnosed as a narcissist. However, I strongly feel he's on the spectrum. So I digress. So I want to tell you that, so let's see, where can I start here? I'm going to start with, I guess, the biggest aha moment that I've had with this. And then I'm going to dive into the research, the current research, because there's a lot coming out right now. There's a big voice that's being given to, again, women's health issues and perimenopause. So many things go on that there was never a light shed on it or a voice given to it. And now finally there is. So here's what I have been going through. There is something called it has a couple of different terms, but mostly it's called ADHD overwhelm paralysis or ADHD paralysis. Now, from an outsider looking in, this person could look like they have a lot to do and all the time in the world to do it, but they just are stuck. And to an outsider, that's where it could look like, oh, just do the things you're supposed to do. Like, how are you frozen right now? Like, get to it. Start with the tap. This is not that big of a deal. Just go do the things you need to do. There's nothing stopping you. If you're that person that's trying to get things done and you're stuck and you can't, and you're like, what is happening right now? You start calling yourself lazy and having all of this guilt and thinking like, why can't I just get things done today? I had a whole list. I knew what I needed to get done. I knew what the priorities were. but I just couldn't. It's a weird thing to sit with, and you feel like a failure, and you feel like this should be so simple. I found myself with let's just take one instance where it's a particular day, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna, get all the stuff done. What started happening in my brain was I would be like, okay, for example, I would be like, all right, we're gonna start. I need to exercise today, so I'm gonna go take a walk. Okay. So I'll be like, fine. And my brain would kind of register that. But it's shortly after my brain would register that, something else would happen that would counter that and shut it down. It's almost like if you were sharing some thoughts with a friend of things that you wanted to do, and this was a toxic friend of yours, this toxic friend voice would pop up right away and be like, oh, you want to go exercise? Well, why would you do that? Because you need to shower right after that, and you have time to shower today with all the things you have to do. So then it would be that would shut down. And then another thing would pop in my head, be like, oh, okay, well, I guess I should shower now. That should be an ease, just go in the shower and do it. What's the problem? But then my brain would be like, well, what are you showering for? Because you're not even seeing anyone today. You're going to be in the house all day. So there's no payoff there, right? And then I'd go on to something else. I'd say, okay, so I'd switch the toxic voice. I'd switch to a new thing, and I'd think, okay, well, how about I could organize the house? That's a good thing to do. And then my brain would say, well, that's not top priority right now. You have so many other things. Why would you be doing that first? Pick something else. And so on and so forth, till it became a storm of voices that were shutting down everything I tried to want to do. And I felt, and this is a very common symptom too, is you feel this flooding almost of your emotions where you're just so stuck and so flooded with these conflicting emotions of things you're supposed to do, and then feeling the guilt that you haven't done it, and then feeling lazy and feeling like a failure, that you go into almost this fight or flight mode, but you shut down. Your whole system's down, and you end up doing nothing. And you hate that you're doing nothing. It's not like you're sitting there, again, going back to that lazy stigma where people think you're just choosing to veg out and what's the word? Space out. That's another ADHD thing. It's just, you're spaced out now. You're not doing anything because you can't. And so I found myself in this pattern, that kept happening. And I had no explanation for it. I just thought I just was a failure, basically. These were simple things that I should be doing. I could have easily packed my day with them and been very productive, and I couldn't do it. And I didn't have an explanation at the time until now. And part of the reason is that typically what we're told about ADHD is, again, we picture young boys mostly in school who can't sit still because they're constantly on the go and they can't focus, and there's all of this hyperactivity going on, that you can see. It's visible, it's out there, it's external. But what I've learned is that for women and for girls, it is what is happening on the inside. So that hyperactivity and overwhelm happens internally. It's all of those constant voices and chatter. It's just this entourage, this onslaught of voices and noise that doesn't stop. It doesn't shut up in there. But nobody can see that. So it's a lot easier to mask that to other people. And I had no idea that was something. It's also a dysregulation of your planning and forethought, your executive functioning. So some of the stuff I alluded to is related to what I am having problems with, which is just being able to not only plan out and prioritize things, but then execute on those things in the order of priority. Something that is very common with people that struggle with these things is that they can have long periods of being able to hyper focus on something and enjoy that activity while they're hyper focusing on it. But it's often the wrong activity. And I say wrong activity because that's very subjective, right? But I'm talking about, for example, let's say you have work deadlines coming up and you have something that's due at the end of the week and it's Wednesday. And ideally you should be working on that thing. So by Friday, you're not in this urgency mode. That's where your time should be, like, let's say in the middle of the workday. But what happens is you just cannot get started and focus in on that thing you're supposed to be doing. And instead, you're creating YouTube videos, or you're engrossed in sweeping the floors and vacuuming, even though that's not high on your priority list right now. You're not supposed to be hyper focused on that, but that's where you're at right now. And it sounds like a simple thing to solve, but it's really not. The other thing I want to explain is that from what I've researched, and I really, really feel like this is me, this is describing me and what I'm going through 100%, is that there is like a dopamine, either a deficiency or a misregulation with your dopamine reward system. So for the neurotypical person, when they're going through their day and they are working on different tasks. Let's just go back to work. Let's say you work in a job where you have to create spreadsheets all day and you kind of like it, but you don't love it. You kind of like it. So I don't know. Some people love it, but let's just say that's your part of your job duty, right? And so the neurotypical person will take that and they will get some kind of like a dopamine hit or reward from completing it. Now, not maybe as big of a hit as like if you're doing something you really love, like if you really love, dessert eating or going on a trip or shopping or whatever. Sometimes, the easy large dopamine hits, which is why people get themselves in trouble, can sometimes be things that are really exciting to you, that give you more of like that rush. Whereas the spreadsheet rush it's not gonna be that great. But I feel like my body because I remember being in jobs that I didn't love and doing tasks that I didn't love, that I could still feel that dopamine hit and at least some enjoyment from completing tasks, even if they were somewhat monotonous or somewhat uninteresting to me. And I feel like there's been this shift in my brain where I not only don't I feel that anymore, because it's so hard for me to complete tasks that are not interesting to me, but I heard someone recently explained it so well to me because I was having problems putting the right words to it, but somebody explained it to me like it's painful. It feels painful to do those simple tasks. The ones that don't bring you that like immediate reward. And that's what it feels like to me. It feels like I'm dragging myself. And it's not even like a physical pain. It's more like a mental pain, which I guess can be hard to describe to people. Almost like, not quite like anxiety, because I feel like anxiety and depression can be painful, and I've had both of those in the past. I don't have depression now, but I always have had like some level of generalized anxiety. But yeah, it's hard to explain, but it feels painful in a way like you're getting no reward out of that hormonally or within your body. You feel like it's painful again, in a different way that depression is painful. If you've gone through depression, there's like a mental anguish and pain to it. It's similar, but you don't feel good. You don't feel good at all, and you feel like you're in pain. And that hits so close to home for me because I didn't have the words around what was happening. So let's see, what else do I want to talk about? So, yeah, so I think those were like the main points, but the link to perimenopause and the link to midlife, if I didn't already mention this, is that I guess low estrogen levels, which is what starts happening in perimenopause, along with a host of other things, which we'll get into, but a bunch of weird stuff. Because it's a systemic thing. It affects every part of your body. But I guess low levels of estrogen is really what can bring all of these things to light and can create a point where you can't mask it anymore. You have to kind of like face it head on. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't talked to anyone about this. I'm going to talk to my partner about it later today, but I haven't, before I release this video, but I haven't expressed this really to anybody. It's something that I don't think is well understood. Oh, the other thing is so I don't know if anyone follows the Holderness family, but they're a couple in midlife, and they put out a lot of really funny reels and videos, and they recently started talking about it because she's really vocal about the woman in the videos. She's very vocal about all things perimenopause, and she's like, do I have ADHD? And I started thinking that I did before I saw her, but it's just, I don't like that people are suffering, but it is nice to see that these things are like brought to light, yeah. So I am going to continue on with talking about this, and I'll let you know, because I am going to go see my psychiatrist. So I do have a psychiatrist. Really, I only see him yearly. Well, I have been now. Maybe it's the new thing, but I usually just see him yearly because I do get a prescription for panic attacks. Like when I travel and stuff, I'm not a good flyer and yeah, stuff like that. So, but I don't take anything regularly for mental health. But I do want to talk to him about this. And in the meantime, I'm going to look for strategies to handle it. But I'm telling you this, the whole overwhelm paralysis, it's real. So it's a real, this is not an excuse. Trust me. This is the thing too. Please know this message. If you can connect with some of this, or somebody who's, whether they're younger or older, has ADHD, especially if they're female, until you've walked in somebody's shoes, you don't you can't fully understand. This is not somebody choosing this or as an excuse or laziness. Trust me. If I'm sure if anyone had the choice to always be productive, and on top of stuff in life, that's a joyful thing. I would love to do that. I would love to each day be doing productive work and putting things out there that enrich my life and the lives of others. Always. Yeah, of course there are going to be moments that truly are I need to rest for a little bit just because I'm tired but that's usually because your body is telling you something. And this stuff, I'm telling you, this paralysis stuff, it also affects decisions in life too, because I've had a really hard time with decision making. Maybe that'll be in my next video, but this is real stuff. Just in the same way that for other mental health issues, when somebody has depression and they can't get out of bed, it's not because they're lazy. They want to be out of bed. They want to be living their lives. They want to be out in the world connecting with others. It doesn't mean they're a weak person. They're going through something really tough. So my gosh, like, let's really, support and understand each other's lives. And, unless somebody is really, really walking down that line of like their victimhood and, oh, woe is me, and they really can't do anything, which again, I know there are exceptions, but I think they are exceptions. The rest of us are really trying and really trying to understand what's going on in our bodies and in our minds. So, thanks for listening and for caring, and sending so much love to everyone out there. And any personal struggle you're going through, just know you're not alone. You're not alone. We all are going through something. Always. It's life. It's a continual process of learning and growing. And sometimes, there's reasons for it. And let's help each other. And please feel free to comment, like, and subscribe, especially subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for everybody who's done that. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in another video soon. Thanks. Bye.